Console Wars, a made-up dick measuring contest started by middle schoolers over things like "we've got free multiplayer" and "I've got Halo," and there's always the ones screaming about Mario and Zelda, also known as me. If the self-explanatory title didn't get it across, you're watching a new series here on PlaystationFollower that will be coming to you every Wednesday called Versus, being represented by a solo V to honor the masterpiece that is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Having knowledge with no power, because that is paradoxical, and
Basically, every week I'll be taking two things that make sense and pit them against each other and then tell you the pros and cons of both sides and let you know what I think is better because of reasons. This won't be limited to just consoles, so stuff like Halo vs Killzone, or Crash vs Sonic, or PlaystationFollower vs Angry Destiny fans are all fair game. But now for the reason you probably clicked on this video, we're here to compare what we know about the PS4 Pro against the Xbox Project Scorpio. As of last Thursday, Digital Foundry posted an exclusive first reveal of the specs that are going to be jam-packed into a box bigger than a fat X-bone called the Scorpio. Before I list those off, I'm going to break down in layman's terms what each aspect of a console power means, mainly CPU, GPU, memory/memory bandwidth, hard drive space, and of course the disk drive. Starting off with the CPU, or Central Processing Unit, this is essentially the brain of the console. The CPU is where all inputs from the players and the game's instructions are processed. Things like NPCs, environments, and interactions with the likes are made possible by the CPU. Basically, the bigger and beefier it is, the more it can handle. From realistic physics to making that badass military bro punch look super impactful, CPU is where it's at. The CPU is also directly tied into the GPU, or Graphical Processing Unit, and if you already knew that, you get 10 points for being a smarty. The GPU is told what to do and how to do it by the CPU. The GPU is responsible for things like creating environments, pictures, rendering character models, and as its name states, almost anything graphical. In the simplest of terms, a GPU reads what the CPU says and turns it into an image. The GPU does have a more intensive job to do, so the better the GPU, the more efficiently your world can be created. For the sake of saving time, and since memory is a pretty general concept, GDDR5 is being used by both consoles, and it's just really good at doing its job at being memory. But we'll get back to that later. The last two on the list are most likely what everyone is familiar with in hard drive space and the disk drive. I hope this doesn't need an explanation, but hard drive is equal to storage and disk drive is equal to games. So with the technical jargon out of the way, let's break down both sides of these beefed up consoles. Starting off with the CPU, the PS4 Pro has 8 Jaguar cores clocked at 2.1 GHz, comparable to the Xbox Scorpio, which was revealed to be running 8 custom x86 cores at 2.3 GHz. For comparison, the base model of the Xbox One is at 1.75 GHz, so clearly both the Pro and the Scorpio have significant boosts over it. There's not a massive difference between the two here, and both have a very respectable CPU power to back them. Xbox does have a slight bump here, however. Moving on to the GPU, the Pro has some stuff in it running at 911 MHz, while the Scorpio is rocking some more stuff in it at 1172 MHz. Looking again to the base Xbox One, which only had 853 MHz, we see that both the Pro and Scorpio are showing off improved GPU power. Again, being newer tech, the Scorpio has an edge over the Pro when it comes to graphical fidelity. Memory is up next, with both consoles using GDDR5, a super fast processing power when it comes to memory, with the PS4 Pro rocking 8 gigs compared to the Scorpio's 12 gigs. As a side note, memory bandwidth was also revealed, and in the case of the PS4 Pro, we have 218 gigabytes per second, while the Scorpio will have 326 gigabytes per second. Both units are on a level playing field when it comes to storage, with a 1TB hard drive being the standard issue in both, which is growing more important with the install size for games growing every year. WWE 2K17 takes up over 60 gigs on my PS4, and Final Fantasy 15 is like 40. Tell me how that works. And lastly, we come to the disk drive. The PS4 Pro sticks with its base model and offers a Blu-ray optical disc drive, whereas Scorpio is using a 4K Ultra HD disc drive. I know 4K is a hot topic buzzword, but PlayStation in the past has stated that they believe the future of 4K is in streaming and chose to pursue that rather than 4K Blu-rays. Games on the PS4 Pro, however, are able to be upscaled to 4K visuals. So that's all the tech talk on what's going on inside both of these consoles that probably don't need to exist, but now it's time for my thoughts on the matter. Since its initial announcement, I was anti-PS4 Pro as I thought it was unnecessary and probably only made by Sony as a way to help sell 4K TVs. The visuals are impressive, I'll admit. Seeing Horizon Zero Dawn full-fledged in 4K HDR on a compatible screen is truly breathtaking. And seeing some of my favorite games actually run better on it is pretty frustrating. The PS4 Pro is an iterative console, acting as the 6S to the PS4's iPhone 6. It is more powerful, but still very much a PS4. When it comes to the Scorpio, I'm interested. Based on the technical improvements, it's safe to say that this will most likely be Microsoft taking a crack at a new generation of a console that is backwards compatible with Xbox One. I know at the E3 unveiling last year they said that an Xbox One could play games that come out on Scorpio, but I'm almost positive that's not the case anymore. Mulling over the way they announced details for the Scorpio last week and the fact that the impressive tech was shown off, not games, not the console itself, just the internals, makes me think this was a move to impress people with the hardware, so by the time E3 comes around, people will be more accepting of the fact that this is actually the Xbox 2 or the 720, or whatever they end up calling it, rather than a step up from the Xbox One. The success of Scorpio is already surrounded by what-ifs and murky waters. In my opinion, the price will make or break this console. With reports going around of the price range being calculated around $400 to $700 based on components, it's an investment that only a handful of people will buy right out the gate. Going after the PC market seems foolish, because the odds are said market has a better PC, and you can buy your exclusive titles due to the Xbox Play Anywhere program. And if the Scorpio isn't another generation and just an iteration, by the time it releases, the PlayStation version in the Pro would have been out for a year and most likely received a decent price cut. Depending on how E3 goes this year, we'll have a better idea of what to expect the rest of 2017 and the next few years hardware-wise between PlayStation and Xbox. In the case of myself, if at E3 this year the Scorpio is revealed as an Xbox 1.5 and there's no rumblings of a PS5 between now and Black Friday, I think I might be upgrading to a PS4 Pro for my half-step console. The fact of the matter is, half-step consoles are stupid and it confuses everybody. I would love for Xbox to launch a fully fledged new console and step into the next generation, because new hardware is always exciting, and that will keep PlayStation on their toes and really deliver when it comes to making PlayStation 5. So that's going to wrap up everything here on my end, but I would really like to know what all you think in the comments down below. What do you think of the Scorpio specs that were released? Do you think it'll be an iteration of the Xbox One or a new Xbox altogether? If you enjoyed this, please share it. Liking the video helps too, it's basically like tipping your waiter. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that for our weekly gaming content and more episodes of Versus that will be released every Wednesday. But with that being said, greatness awaits, and I'll see you all in the next video.